The big scary gravity, the big scary institutions with all the fucking brown beating and the refuse to authority. Bollocks, this is what I'm talking about. Take control of yourself. Commit. Stand up for yourself. Commit. Stand up for yourself. Have a no-nonsense approach. Commit. Stand up for yourself. Commit. Stand up for yourself. Have a no-nonsense approach. The heliocentric globe model is just a concept that exists only in the minds of delusional, abstract thinkers. They have supported it by way of imagery through your TV screen. You see an image on your TV, you hear priestly brotherhoods rattling on about a lot of crap endlessly in big fanciful words and language, trying to explain away your direct reality. You are the scientist, you're the one who has to endeavour to find out what your reality actually is. You're not taking it on hearsay or be swayed by an image on your TV screen. An image on a TV screen does not trump direct experience and direct observation, quantification, practicality, demonstration of our objective reality. If the image is contradicting the non-physical substances and interactions and behaviours in our reality, it's the image that must be tossed out. Hi guys, how are you doing? What's your name?
Yeah, I'm Josh.
Josh, how you doing? I'm Dale.
I'm Dozy.
Sorry?
Dozy,
how you doing, Dozy? What I'm doing is I'm asking people if they think that they're susceptible. Do you think you're a bit gullible? Or do you think you've got a strong sense of discernment, critical thought? Do you think you could be made to believe something that's not true?
For me, no.
You don't think you could, so you think you're quite critical in your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely.
So could I go through a wee process just to see how critical you actually are? So I want to just get some agreements with you first, right? See, what's your standard of accepting that something is true?
What do you mean by standard?
What would you expect if I asked you to believe in something?
Yeah.
What would your standard be in order for you to accept that it was real?
Some facts.
Facts, so like a practical demonstration?
Yeah.
So what about if I said to you the Loch Ness Monster's real, but I can only show you it on a video? Would you accept that as fact?
No.
Why not?
Because you can make videos, you can edit videos and shit as well.
Exactly, so would you say then it would have to be shown in front of you, you would have to demonstrate it? So would you say that's proper science?
Yeah.
That should be the proper scientific method? So do you think that you could be made to believe something's not true, or do you think you may have a belief that's maybe not true? Science belongs to each and every single individual. Now, the method in which we, prove things to each other comes into the natural sciences, which means you can practically demonstrate any claim that you're making. So what if then if I gave you a video of the Loch Ness Monster and I gave you an explanation, like a mathematical explanation that said that the Loch Ness Monster, the possibility of it being true is true, would you accept that?
I think I would.
Yeah.
You would accept a mathematical possibility?
Yeah.
But do you understand that mathematics is just a language?
Yeah.
It's true.
But as it's a formal science, it's not a natural science, so it's just a language, it's a language that humans have created in order to explain things.
Because everything's based off mathematics, so...
Do you think so?
Well, for me, I think so.
So if I go back to the standard again, for me, I'm really critical in my thought. I need a practical demonstration of substance. So if somebody makes a claim to me about the reality I live in, they need to show me that in order for me to accept that it's true. Just as your friend says, a video is not enough for me because video can be manipulated, as you quite rightly stated. So we're not talking about mathematics or astrophysics or any of these pseudoscience bullshits. We're talking about the natural world. So when I start from that base foundation and I address the claims that are being put to me, I was born into this. I was told this is the absurd world that you're living in. A pressurised, nature-defying testicle zipping through a vacuum. That's the claim that was put to me. So when I come back to a base foundation of, okay, I'm a realist, I'm intellectually honest, now I'm going to have a look at my reality and see how these claims hold up. When I talk about something being real, I can take anything that's real and I can demonstrate it to you. So if I was to say to you, you know, here's a substance that's known as glass, it has a set form to it, it has dimensions to it, it has a volume, a capacity that, you know, is holding a liquid, you know. This is something that's tangible, it's something that is real, okay, that can be measured and demonstrated to you. Like right now I'm going to demonstrate, there is a bottle. It is filled with the substance known as water. That substance has no form, it has no shape to it. Okay? It will seek the lowest point in any void. If it is met by a resistance that it cannot penetrate, it's going to dam up, it's going to fill up, and it's going to continually fill the void or the shape or the space, the containment that it is in. The surface is always going to be in an equilibrium. It is always going to be a horizontal plane. Okay? The water does not have the ability to conform to the outside of shapes and objects. It's formless. It has no elasticity. It has nothing to bind each molecule, if you like, to the other to give it elasticity, shape and form. It's formless. So when I say to you, that's my reality, that's what I find. We use that substance to level. We build reservoirs, canals, dams, lakes. We have oceans that contain that very substance. And it is known through our whole existence and by everybody who's alive right now that that substance has no form, it has no shape. Everybody knows it's going to show us the level line. That's the standard I expect. That's what I accept as being scientific. Or if somebody wants me to accept some aspect of my reality, they have to show me in a practical way. You up for it?
Yeah, what is it?
Offering £100.
Maybe, yeah.
Right. This is the challenge. All you have to do is sit at the water level, right, and bend the bottle so that the line, see the line here?
Yeah.
So that it bends, and I want you to get the surface of the water to follow the line.
Impossible, Jack.
Try it. Watch, because there's a hole here. If you bend it too much, the water's going to come out.
What are you intelligent? Doesn't bend, Jack. No, it doesn't.
You say that again?
It doesn't bend.
Water doesn't bend?
No.
So what if I scaled this up and made it bigger?
Fuck.
Would it bend then?
No, it just moves.
Just moves. The
Yeah.
water will always collapse and the surface will always be level.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how big I make it.
Yeah.
Do you believe you live on a round bar?
Yeah.
Why? I've just showed you it's impossible.
The world's flat.
Bodies of water do not bend. Now, to show you the contrast here and what is actually happening with maybe your mind right now as you're watching this, you have this image of a sphere Earth that you see on your TV screen. And you're thinking, how can they be lying? How could anybody prove to me they're lying? How could it be so big? How could they be lying and get away with this? And you would probably ask me, debunk space, debunk the images they show me. This substance here is one of the only things you need. Because again, you can understand the substance. You can demonstrate it to yourself. You can demonstrate it to other people. It is an objective fact. It is really real. And it's in our immediate reality. The reason that you know that the lion and the image that's being depicted on your TV screen is not true is because they are depicting the earth with the substance known as water behaving in a way that is not real. So for £100, mate, this is a challenge, right? See the line that's level with the water? You can bend the boat any way you like, bend the line. I need you to get the surface of the water to follow the bend, follow that level line. There's a hole here, so try and not squeeze the water out, right? Right, turn it back that way. Just bend it anyway, bend the line anywhere you like. You're not going to get the water to bend. Do you know why?
Why is that?
No, I'm asking you if you know why.
Sure.
You can't bend water, can you? Always finds its level. Would you agree with that? Would you say that's your everyday experience? Aye? Aye. Do you believe you live on a globe? Probably no.
It doesn't feel round.
Doesn't
It
feel-
seems straight.
Always seems straight and level. It's filled with liquid, isn't it? Filled with water. Water can't bend. Do you think it's important? You want to look into it? Definitely. Check it out, mate. Check it out. Alright, buddy. Well, would I give you the £100 if you could bend it, but... So the challenge is, can you see the level, the blue level line?
Yeah.
Can you see that the liquid is in a line with the blue surface?
Yeah.
The blue line?
Just about.
So I just want you to hold that. Now what I want you to do, right, is to bend this blue line and get the surface of the liquid to follow the blue line. Think it's possible?
Well, yeah, I've done physics.
Okay,
Just try to work out how you would do it.
go for it then. So you were an are you a physics student now, or you were a physics student?
I was a student. I really found that interesting. Right, fluid mechanics and all that.
Yeah.
Have to.
With fluid mechanics, nobody telling you that that's impossible.
I'm thinking about it.
Just watch, because there's a hole here to let the air out, if, you know, when you're bending it, so there's...
Well, you wouldn't be asking people to do it if it wasn't possible, is what I'm thinking.
What, well, do you think I want to give you my £100 away?
You just want to have conversations with people.
What, to be honest with you, what I'm going to say is that it isn't possible.
Is it?
It isn't
right,
possible.
Okay, well, thank you for not letting me try.
Well, no, you can still try if you like.
Aye.
What I'm trying to get out is a response of, you know, it isn't possible. Do you, I mean, you can agree or disagree?
No, yeah, I'm going to say it probably is definitely possible.
What, and if I ask you why is it impossible, what would your response be? You don't have to give me the scientific, you know, just a real life explanation.
explanation to it. I would say that if I were to bend it that way, the water's going to naturally go where the lowest point is.
And how would the surface react? How would the surface be?
The line,
The surface of the liquid.
oh, it wouldn't be straight. No, it wouldn't be straight, wouldn't it? Aye, it would always be straight.
It would always be
Hard
straight.
water.
You can't curve it, can you?
Aye, you can.
Right, so that's a fundamental, would you accept that that's a fundamental fact of everybody's reality, that liquids can't bend?
Oh yeah, there's no one else in the world that could do it. I
Nobody
could
could do it, even a magician with the best technology, could they make the water bend? I mean, you see what I mean? The liquid's always
Yeah.
what?
Well, maybe it is possible, but maybe not as possible as what you're trying. I couldn't do it on the street.
If I says to you that liquids can't support sheer stress, I mean, through your physics, did you ever hear that?
No, I didn't take it that far.
So the
to be
molecules in the liquids can't bind together, they can't support themselves. So the surface of a body of water always levels off.
honest. That's why it's fluid, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, we build canals based on these principles. We use it in construction for levelling. You know, we build dams and stuff like that because we know the surface of water is always flat, level. So do you accept that then as your reality?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's not something to think about every day, but
So then if I then says to you, okay, that one fundamental fact, they say the Earth's 70% liquid.
here's 70% liquid.
No, the Earth.
Oh, the Earth.
The Earth is 70% liquid.
Right.
How can it possibly be a round ball? So, if I was then to say to you, you know how a liquid behaves? Do you know how liquids behave?
Yeah.
Well, how would you describe a liquid? How would you say it behaves?
Free moving.
Free moving, free
particles.
flowing,
Yeah.
can't support shear stress.
Yeah.
Would you say that a liquid will always take the shape of its container?
Yeah.
How would you describe the surface of liquid in a containment? Flat?
Yeah.
Flat? What then if I was to say to you that I can show you a body of liquid, like a bathtub or a swimming pool, and I can bend the swimming pool and I can make the water conform and make the bend on the surface of the water? Would you accept that if I showed you an image of that?
Probably not.
No? Why not? Because it's not your reality?
Yeah.
Because that's not how liquids behave, and you know that through your own experience. So would you then trust your own experience then of that over my image?
Yeah.
An image in no way, shape or form is measurable scientific proof of anything. Especially when your images are cartoons. That's what these are. These are cartoons. They are not actual photographs of people being in space, looking at the Earth as a whole and snapping a picture. It's ridiculous. So what we have to look at here is, first and foremost, we're looking at a ball. We know beyond any shadow of a doubt that it's impossible to get any body of liquid to display this type of behaviour. Bodies of liquid, demonstrable fact of your everyday existence, do not have the ability to support themselves and conform to the exterior of any shape and object. Bodies of liquid will take the shape of any container they are in, and the surface will be horizontal, level from every point to the other. If not, the body of water will start to flow. That's what a river is. So again, we have to look at the fundamental substances, the aspects of reality, and see what they tell us. We do not try to rewrite physics, the physical properties of substances on Earth, to try and make them fit an image. If the image is depicting something that's fallacious, that does not match observed and tested reality, the image must be ignored. So you have to understand that an image is in no way, shape or form scientific measurable proof of anything. This abundant substance proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that it's an absurd, idiotic belief that you have, that you live on the exterior of this nonsense. And just as this quite rightly says, water in the lake, water in the sea, water in the pool, water in a glass, water in a classroom. And this is the difference. These things are practical, they can be demonstrated. What you see here is a plastic toy, and we have all sorts of sophisticated language, that being mathematics, that has been used to try and describe and explain away physical reality in order to make people believe in absurdities, that being this nonsense here. Very simple. This is how liquids behave. This is not how they behave. These are facts of your everyday existence. So, what is going on in the sky in regards to the luminaries, the sun, the moon, the stars? Nobody knows. Nobody has been to them. Nobody knows what they actually are and where they actually are. And I have to add that they do not offer anything measurable about the dimensions of the earth you stand upon. This substance can be depended upon, can be tested, known and applied by every single person alive. It tells everybody beyond any shadow of a doubt that they are living in a level contained system. Again, I believed I lived in a globe, I assumed it to be true. I tried desperately to prove to myself that it was real. I failed miserably. I had to go over the emotional and psychological process and realising that I had been told a pack of lies. The people will ask, what is the motive? Why are these people dying then? Oh, and everybody has to be in it. I was not in it. The majority of the people here were not in a lie. This is how a cult works. This is how brainwashing works. You don't have to be in on it. You just have to assume it's true, although your whole practical reality, everyday lived life, is screaming at you, telling you it's absurd. I started to realise that it was impossible for me to be living on the exterior of an oblate spheroid for a number of reasons. The number one reason is that the place is covered in liquid water. That water has very definite characteristics to it, that being and explained as water will take the shape of its container. The surface will always equalise, will always be a horizontal plane. Unless, of course, we have winds or currents, which causes a motion on the surface, and then we get waves and we get swells. But the body as a whole is contained and level. You cannot take a body of water and bend the sides downwards and see the bend upon the surface of the water. That is retarded, an absurdity, an insult to the natural world. So when people tell me bodies of water do have the ability to bend and maintain rotundity and bends upon the surface, and they can't demonstrate that to me, there's a problem. So knowing that, I'm just going to go with this one point. You know how a liquid behaves? The surface is always a horizontal plane.
Yeah.
Do you believe you live on a globular Earth?
Yeah.
You do? Why?
Science.
Science, yeah.
What science?
Discovery, going up in space and stuff.
Have you ever been there?
No.
Where did you see it on a TV? But yet you just agreed with me a minute ago that you wouldn't accept an image of the Loch Ness Monster, but you accept an image of a ball Earth. So here's the thing, I've gave you a fact that you can verify for yourself and how a liquid behaves, but yet you would suspend that in order to believe an image of a globular Earth that shows you oceans bending around and showing the curvature on the water. I'm just trying to reason with people to show, I used to believe this as well, but when I actually studied what science actually was and had a discerning mind for myself, there's a certain standard I require, and an image just doesn't cut it for me, especially when those images are no actual photographs, they're CGI, they're computer generated images. In these space industries, they tell you that the images they're showing you are composite images, they're not actual full photographs. So what I'm asking people is, as you said, you would take your direct reality over an image.
Yeah.
So what's your choice? Do you believe in how a liquid behaves, or do you believe a mathematical explanation backed by an image?
Liquid behaves, how it behaves.
You can't deny it, can you? There's no scale you could go to where you could start to bend a body of water and maintain that bend on the surface. We use liquids to level. We build and construct on a level. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
But these guys right now that are putting that together, that platform has to be absolutely level. What's it level to? The earth beneath it. They would use a spirit level to level that. Do you know what a spirit level is?
Yeah, I know, the little liquid thing,
Yeah, because liquids always maintain level. So there's one fact that debunks the belief that we live on a spherical Earth. Have you ever witnessed curvature of the Earth?
No.
No? When you look at the horizon, how would you describe the horizon?
Flat.
Flat. Flat. So you've never witnessed the curvature of the Earth? You've never been to space to see the Earth as a ball? But you believe it? Yeah. Are you having doubts?
Yeah.
Do you think it's healthy to have those doubts? You wouldn't want to believe something that wasn't true, would you?
No.
No, you wouldn't either. You don't want to be gullible and believe in things without actually knowing for yourself. So that's the type of examples that I'm talking about when, you know, we're asking these questions about the objective world. So people can say, liquids, it's only a small scale. Well, it's not about the scale. I'm showing you that a liquid does not have that ability. If you're going to claim contrary, if you're going to claim that on some unspecified scale, liquid starts to adopt this elastic property and this new energy that allows it to bend and convection the exterior of objects, that's up to you. You need to fucking demonstrate that to me. And that doesn't mean, look at my picture, because that's the problem. We have an ignoring of objective reality and what humans can practically demonstrate to show each other what's true. Right? We have an ignoring of that because an institution is producing images on a TV screen. And we've got all this mathematical jargon and complexity to try and make it work and explain it. And because it's generations of this complexity and massive idol worship, people somehow think it's got relevance and importance. When it's simple, what does your reality show you? Oh, that's right. Reality's showing you that that's absurd. I don't need to entertain it any further. But this is where people are coming from. This image. Well, I've got this idol, this image that I just worship blindly. And I'm just going to spew any old garbage and crass but confirmation biases to make it true. It's never going to be true. But the globe, I'm going to state it right here and now, has nothing measurable. It has nothing practical, nothing demonstrable. It is a concept, a narrative that has been pushed and is backed up by sophistry. Sophistry, for anybody who doesn't know, is a use of language, rhetoric, sophisticated language that is designed to bamboozle you, to seem legitimate, and to sway your opinion or your beliefs into a particular narrative or agenda. So that's where people like me come from. There's too much appealing to authority. I hear it continually, even in my social circles. Oh, well, I know an astrophysicist. He would wipe the floor with you. Oh, I know such and such. I know. What the fuck do you know? Well, how about what you know? And never mind appealing to some exterior dipshit. And anyway, I couldn't give a fuck about astrophysicists. Idiots that look at the sky, look at my lights. Oh, 6.5 zillion miles away and 4.6 billion light years away in the galaxy Andromeda of all the fluffy nonsense. Such and such happened. Lunatics.
Yeah. You're a lunatic. Yeah.
These are the fucking lunatics that are imposing themselves as scientists, and everybody fucking worships them. Oh, they know what they're talking about. No, they don't. They're fantasists, full of absolute nonsense. Okay? I can make any old shite up about what I'm seeing up in the sky. Any old crap. And it's just as much validity as what anybody else is going to say. Okay? So, Andromeda and its galaxies and its moons and all that were created by elves, pixie elves. They're invisible. Prove me wrong. You can't. You can't verify or falsify anything that I'm saying. Because you can't fucking go there. Do you believe you're whizzing through a vacuum with a pressurised environment, clinging to a wee potato rock, with vast oceans all bent round it, and wee boats going upside down, and people all walking upside down? Huh? That's not retarded, no. No. Saying that we're on a level plane, apparently that's retarded, where we have up, down, left, right, and every other direction. No, that's not sane and rational at all, is it? No. Water's always level, horizon's always straight and level, no curvature anywhere, no practical examples to show masses attracted to other masses with water and stuff all sticking to it. No, nothing practical in that claim whatsoever. Right? But we're retarded. Right? You probably believe, as I say, there's oceans stuck to the underside of a fucking spinning blue testicle. And big heavy boats are all stuck upside down on it. Get fucking real. It's a fact of reality that bodies of water do not curve, do not bend, do not have the ability to show shapes upon the surface. That's how reality works. So another quick point. So the horizon's always level, it's always a straight line. Liquids are always a straight line. They also tell us that we live in a medium that's a vacuum, and we live in a gaseous pressure. Now in physics we understand that in order to have pressure you must have a container of some sort. And if I was to take that container away from the pressurised area in a medium like a vacuum or a body of water, the pressurised gas would disperse evenly in every direction. That's physics.
Yeah.
But again, we're to suspend that and believe it's different, that we actually live in a vacuum with no containment around us, and that we maintain a pressure because of a magical force that they call gravity. But yet nobody can show us that. That's another claim that they make that defies physical reality though. In order for a high pressure system to coexist next to a low pressure system or a vacuum, I would have to form a membrane. There would have to be a solid separation between the both of those, because in physical reality high pressure will always move into the lower pressure region. But they're trying to tell us we live in a pressurised environment adjacent to a vacuum without any solid separation, and the gas just remains around this oblate spheroid. So for me, again, what they're telling me and what my physical reality tells me are two different things, and I think there's a huge contradiction that has to be looked at. Okay, so first and foremost, what is this? Oh, it's a rock that's flying through a vacuum, right, and it's got pressure. Right, okay, so I'll take that right away. What's my understanding of actual reality? Oh, in order to have a gas pressure, I need some sort of containment. Especially if it's in a medium, like a vacuum. So what do I do? All right, I'll go and I understand a vacuum chamber. And again, a vacuum requires a containment as well. So we'll take that as the medium. Okay, right, so what happens when I put a rock in there and I try and squirt air pressure on it and make it... Oh, that's right, it doesn't fucking work. We understand that it's equilibrating with the medium that it's in. Finds its equilibrium. Yes. So right there and then, we know for a fact that claim is fucking hogwash. Okay? Oceans are bending round it, rivers and stuff are all bending, and it's displaying and maintaining the bend on it. Oh, well, look at my reality again. Hang on a minute. Liquids don't seem to have that ability. Liquids don't have elasticity. Liquids don't have the ability to bond together and display what would require a huge, unfathomable amount of unknown energy to make a body of water convex and remain in a convex shape. That's not what reality tells me. Reality tells me that liquids find the lowest potential energy state, which is fucking equal, a level line in every fucking possible direction. The liquid equilibrates with the environment. That's right. So right there and then we've got two claims that totally destroy the absurdity that is the heliocentric globe model. I don't really need to go any further than that, but I can. There's nothing to debunk. It debunks itself. When they can't offer you practicality and a definition of what it is they're actually claiming. Sophism. It's a science of cartoons. Right? It's a science of how to animate things using crayons and wee drawings. But what they're claiming is no science, because they can't show it practically. It's no science. It's a science of perception. 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 Is it fucking that up? It's a science of perception. It's a science of perception. Right? It's a science of perception. It's a science of perception. Is it fucking that up? It's a science of perception. 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 It's a science of perception.
universal delta type placed in panendermic semi-boloid slots of the stator. Every seventh conductor being connected by a non-reversible.
It's a science of sophism. It's a science of cartoons. Right? It's a science of how to animate things using crayons and wee drawings. But what they're claiming is no science because they can't show it practically. It's no science. It's a science of deception. 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 Is it fucking that hard? It's a science of deception. It's a science of deception. Right? It's a science of deception. It's a science of deception. Is it fucking that hard? Now, I know that it seems ridiculous because in people's eyes, people's minds, they have seen an image. They have seen the Earth depicted to them on a TV screen. They have been told that they are as a group of highly sophisticated, highly intelligent, superior beings who are going to a place known as the vacuum of space and have a vantage point of seeing our Earth as a whole from a distance. So it is going to seem ridiculous to people at first because people in our generations since the invention of the TV have taken things that they see on the TV to be factual and true. What you have to do is you have to remove yourself from that position. You have to understand that if I was to show you something on a TV screen that defied your known experience of reality, like, a video of me flying or levitating, you would know through your intellectual honesty, your discernment, that there has to be some sort of trick. You understand through your own experience that that's not the case. You know people cannot fly, you know people cannot levitate, okay, unless they're using some form of advanced technology that we don't have a grasp on quite yet. So anything can be presented to you in the way of image, and it can be presented through a TV screen or in a picture, a painting, any of these things. You should know that that is in no way, shape or form enough to justify you accepting something as being true. That is the position I found myself in, because I understand that, images and what I see in the TV can be manipulated. They can, portray reality in people in a way that is nonsensical to my understanding of the physical existence that I'm in. So you've seen it, you see it in Hollywood movies, you see it in, all sorts of TV programs, how, they can edit and, use sophisticated technology to make things appear as being real. So, again, you have to remove yourself from that. And what I have to point out to you is that an image on your TV screen in no way, shape or form constitutes as any sort of scientific endeavour or scientific measurement of something being true. I'm just asking students, what I'm doing is trying to highlight the reasoning processes behind, things that people take to be true and why they take them to be true. Would you be interested in up for me questioning maybe that on you? What I'm questioning, mate, is you've probably heard about this, but please don't have any preconceived ideas about who you think I may be. Have you ever heard of people questioning the shape of the Earth?
Yeah.
Can I ask you what your stance on that is?
It's a sphere.
It's a sphere. Can I then go further into your reasoning processes and ask you to maybe offer up your reasoning processes for why you would assert that it was a sphere? Do you believe that you live on the exterior of an oblate spheroid?
Yes.
Can I ask you, I just want to question your reasoning processes then as to why you believe that, if you could offer up your reasoning process?
It's not that I've seen direct evidence, it's just that I've not seen direct evidence against that fact.
So if somebody...
And I know that you can't prove a negative,
yeah,
but it's I believe it's the most likely possibility.
Based on... This young man's very kindly agreed to speak to me. I seen he had the NASA jumper on. I thought I would ask him if he was up for questions. So I take it you're a NASA fan?
Yeah, I don't mind NASA.
You don't mind? So, did you believe everything that NASA shows you?
I mean, I don't believe a lot of stuff, but I mean, I think some of it's true, but some of it could be speculated. Like.
Yeah. Do you think all the images and the photographs that they say they're showing you, do you think they're actually real?
I'm not sure. I mean, potentially they might not be.
Well, what I'm asking people is to try and reason with them. Would you ignore your everyday experience of reality in favour of an image, or would you go with your everyday experience of reality over the image?
Reality.
You'd go with reality. So if I just jump to this quick, because I know I don't want to keep you, you're obviously quite busy. I go with real science, you know, like physics, chemistry, biology, and that's where I get my understanding of the natural world from. So the most important thing, the one point I'll just go with here is, do you understand how a liquid behaves?
Yeah.
What would you describe it as?
Like fluid.
Fluid?
Yeah, free moving, moved particles.
It would take the shape of the container,
Yeah.
and the surface would be, how would you describe the surface?
Flat usually, unless like changed by like wind and so forth.
Wind or current or stuff. So you know the surface is a horizontal plane.
Yeah.
If they're 71% liquid, water, and you understand that, that's your reality, how can the earth be a ball? See, this is what I'm saying, real world stuff against an image. What would you go with?
I don't know. I think the world's a sphere.
You think it's a sphere?
Yeah.
Is that just belief? You know it's just a belief?
Yeah.
It's just easier to believe that, but you've never actually experienced it for yourself, have you? No. Do you think you would think about it, or do you think it's irrelevant to you?
I don't know, maybe I think about it.
You think about it? Is what I've just said, that one wee point about the liquids, is that enough to trigger you to maybe have a wee look at it?
Yeah.
Excellent, my man. Thank you for speaking to me. I appreciate it. Now, when I say the word scientific and science, I am talking about it from my understanding and how I use the word. Science to me simply means exploration. It means a human being exploring the reality, the physical realm that we find ourselves in, and seeing what we find. That's it. That's what exploration really should be. There is something totally different going on with what we call science and what people accept as science. What is happening is that you have institutions professing they are under the guise of science, while at the same time they are pushing existential narratives. What I mean by existential narratives is stories of who we are, how we came to be, how the world came to be, what our future may be. These are existential fairy tales. That is not what real science is about. Real science, real exploration is about, moving through the physical existence and finding what you find from one moment to the next. What you find in the natural world, what you find in regards to the substances within the natural world and the interaction of those substances. Okay? So, when you look at mainstream now and what's been taught to your children and what was taught to you, it was a religious narrative, a story that is designed to encompass your psyche with a vision of who you are, where you are, and what life is. That should never be the case in real objective science. It should never be reading from storybooks and trying to give narratives like that. It should always be a pursuit from one day to the next, from one moment to the next, and advancing our understanding of the physical realm and the interaction of substances. Okay? So, that's what I mean by science. And you will note that, the majority of mainstream and the institutions have, wrapped science up an all-encompassing umbrella, and they just throw and pull out from that, cesspool, whatever they see fit, in order to push certain agendas and to fit whatever narratives it is that they're trying to push. So what's your name, sorry?
My name's Murray.
Murray. Owen.
Lewis.
Lewis, how you doing, guys? So you're studying at the university there, are you?
Aye. Yeah.
So you're into chemical engineering, is that right?
Aye.
So you're into science.
Yeah.
Can I ask you what your definition of science is?
Definition of science?
Science.
How everything works.
how everything works.
The scientific method is a way of understanding the world that takes out most of the human error as possible.
Exactly.
Try to be as objective as possible.
So looking at natural phenomena.
One of the aspects, yeah.
Well, it's the natural sciences, isn't it? It's the study of the natural world, as you say. So we're looking at natural phenomena, no man-made things and blah, blah, blah. So what would your criteria be then for you to accept something as being real?
Proof. What's the thing?
Hard evidence, practical demonstrations,
Yeah. Objective evidence.
objective evidence.
Believing it'll work.
So in objective evidence then, so if I can get some first principles on my standard of objective evidence, would you accept an image as objective evidence?
It depends.
Depends on.
Because it can be tampered, right?
Can be tampered. Yep. So what if I gave you an image of the Loch Ness Monster and said the Loch Ness Monster was real?
I would be critical.
Critical.
Skeptical.
What if I could give you a picture of the Loch Ness Monster with a mathematical explanation of how the Loch Ness Monster is real?
A mathematical explanation.
Mathematical explanation. How would I do that?
Yeah.
Well, maths is a language.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah.
It's a formal science.
Yes.
So when we're talking about objectivity, we're talking about the natural sciences, physics, biology, chemistry. Mathematics is a descriptor, and it must match tangible, objective reality. Would you agree with that?
It must match it.
Well, in order for it to be objectively true, your mathematics... See, the thing is like any other language, like using English, I can say Santa Claus is real, or I can say Santa Claus is not real. Now, both are grammatically correct, but one's a lie and one's the truth.
You got to remember though, all science is based on theory and it's based to be proved wrong, and scientists will never be proved wrong, so it's just all one big theory. So they're not 100% sure on it, it's just the best.
So would you say in your logic then, if I made a claim, then the burden is on you to somehow prove me wrong?
I'd say if it's consistent and constant, you could make a good claim saying that it's proof, for scientific proof at
But
least.
burden of proof in my world is the affirmative claim is the burden of proof. So when somebody makes a claim to something being objectively true, the burden's on them, it's not on me. You would accept that. So what I'm trying to get, guys, is a gauge for your level of acceptance. So could I say then, just one at a time, would you accept an image as scientific proof of anything?
No.
Just
Well,
kind of debatable, don't really know.
Debatable?
An example.
An example? Loch Ness Monster?
If you prove it, aye.
Well, I can't prove it just with an image, can I? That's why I'm asking you your standard of acceptance. You wouldn't accept that? What if I told you I could fly? And I could show you, but what if I could only demonstrate it in a video?
Then it's not true.
No.
It's not true, because video and image can be manipulated.
Aye.
When it comes to 4.56 billion light years away and gazillions of years ago, nobody can experience that. Oh look, me and 500 of my mates are going to this vacuum and we're wee ships, right? And you just need to believe us, because we can show you pictures. That's like me and 500 mates saying, well, there's pictures of Nessie. Nessie's fucking real, because me and 500 of my mates have seen Nessie. Now, away you go to Loch Ness and spend all your fucking dough on the local businesses while you hunt for Nessie. And don't come back telling me Nessie's no real just because you've not seen it. I showed you a picture. That's a fucking nonsense we're having to deal with. So, then we move into the mainstream media and how they want to represent people like me. Now remember, I'm a realist. I believed I lived on a globe. I understand now that's utter bollocks. Okay? I know beyond any shadow of a doubt the Earth's plane is a plane. The liquid tells me it, my visuals tell me it, the applied sciences, navigation, construction are telling us it complicitly that you're on a level plane. So practical reality is wrong because of an image? No, I don't think so. So I know that I'm not on the exterior of a fucking potato rock. I know the Earth's level when it's contained. Whatever that containment may be, I do not know. I don't know the full dimensions. Nobody I know knows the full dimensions. So what you're going to see is this blatant attempt to lump people like me, realists, in with crazies, people that claim ice walls and domes and all this fucking shite. when every bit of the material since I started is showing them and telling them that's not me, that's not the claims I make. The surface of any body of water in our direct reality is always a horizontal plane. Would you agree with that?
No, because sometimes it like curves over. See if you got like water in a cup and you put it all the way to the top, it like...
You're talking about meniscus, surface tension.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah. So on a small scale, if we put it in a test tube, you can get a meniscus.
Yeah.
And if you use something like mercury, you'll get the opposite, you'll get a convex meniscus. But when we start to collect it into bigger bodies...
I know exactly what this is.
This is the thing, I'm not a flat earther. I'm not a flat earther. Okay, I'm just a skeptic, alright? Now I'll put flat earth in my titles purely because it's a trending thing, but I do not represent any flat earth map or model. I don't make any claims to the dimensions of the earth at all. Okay, my only claim is that the earth's demonstrably level.
The earth is level.
The earth is demonstrably level. If we go to mathematics, do you know what Euclidean plane geometry is?
I've heard of it, but I'm not entirely sure.
Well, when we construct and we navigate, we use Euclidean plane principles. So you know who Alexander Euclid was?
No.
They formulated axioms, basically planar geometry. So, like in construction, you know, anything we build, anything engineering aspects, we use plane principles. So we assume a level earth beneath our feet, and we construct and we navigate from there. You don't know about that, so I don't want to go any further with that if you're not sure of the topic.
No, I'm not entirely sure. No.
Well, that's, you can look into it, look at who Alexander Euclid was and, you know, Euclidean plane principles. So we use these things, you know, fluid dynamics, fluid mechanics is a fundamental knowing, you know. Liquids take the shape of their container, the surface is always a horizontal plane. We build canals under these principles, we build dams and, you know, whatever else. So if we're using these things, but we've got another aspect of reality telling us we live on the exterior of a ball, I've got a bit of an issue with that, because objective reality, the fundamental aspects of my existence tell me that that's impossible. So, do you believe it's a ball?
You know it to be an oblate spheroid.
You know it to be an oblate spheroid.
Well,
It's scientific consensus.
I don't want to be condescending, but you know, I don't want an appeal to consensus or an appeal to authority or any of that kind of fallacious reason. I just want you guys direct, you know, what you think and what your experience is, and that's it. So you think it's a ball or an oblate spheroid?
An oblate spheroid.
You think the same?
Aye.
And you think the same? So can I ask you, can you justify that belief?
Justifying the belief? Well, let's say you stand on the west coast of Ireland.
Yep.
And you have a telescope and you point it west.
Yep.
You won't be able to see America.
But that's because of your limitation. You're tiny in comparison to the Earth. Like, see when we look at this street right now, the human perspective is that the floor rises, the walls come in, no parallel lines ever cross, but they appear to us that that's what they do. So, in the globe model, there is no exacting science of our vision, okay? Now, as a human being, I'm speaking to you directly here. You understand that when you go out into the world, the way you see the world is that the floor you're standing on will come up to meet the level of your eye. The sky will come down and sit above that point, just at the level of your eye. And if you had walls or anything on your on the same level, they would appear to converge at the very same point, and everything gets smaller and diminishes, okay, the further it gets from you. This is where this globe has come in and hijacked three-dimensional tangible reality and tried to superimpose this other geometry over the top of it. That's why they will say, look, there's a boat directly out in front of you that appears to be going over a curve. Again, I have to help you to understand that the absurdity of a curve on a body of water that is now not flowing anywhere and maintaining the bend upon its surface. It is inconsistent from one day to the next, because our vision is subject to conditions in the air, temperature, pressure, density. So many variations, there is no exacting science, tangible measurement of how we see the world. But yet this globe has hijacked it and tried to utilise it and use it to push the narrative that they want to be true, or that they want you to think is true. If it was a geometric sphere, oblate sphere, then from one day to the next, the curving water and ships going over would be the exact same. At the exact same point, every time. And it's not. There's people all across the world now who are taking observations, optical phenomena, that are inconsistent from each other, contradictory. But yet this is the only real thing that this globe has to offer.
Why when a ship sails into the horizon it slowly starts to drop down, so you see the bottom of it go, and then the top, and then the mast will be the last thing that disappears?
Well, optical phenomena like that, there's so many varying contradictions and you know...
like what?
Well, some people on certain days can see further, and then on other days they don't. So an optical phenomena for me is not the same as an actual tangible substance. When we don't have an exacting science over an optic, like just an untangible visible, that doesn't trump a physical tangible substance like a liquid. So if I'm viewing over a body of water, my first principles, and this is what I'm trying to agree with people, my first principle understanding is that the body of water is level upon its surface before I go to the optical observation. The globe is invoking a different geometry. The real tangible 3D realm that we all move in 3 dimensions and exist in is treated as a plane. You know, as I say, from construction, you go and ask any engineer or construction worker, they understand these principles. Things are built square, perpendicular. We know this, we know that water levels. We can build a stretch of canal 100 miles long. And we know that from the first point to the last point, it has to be on an equal plane. Level, again, in our understanding of physical reality, is a level line from one point to another that does not deviate. Okay? And the mathematical conceptual realm of globe heliocentrism, they're going to tell you that level's not a straight line. Again, taking a dump on, you know, practical reality. They're trying to tell you that a level is equal from the centre of a circle, from the central point of a circle to the outside circumference is what level means. In reality, that's not what level is. Level is an equal line with no deviation from one point to the other. Okay, so that we know if one point is slightly lower or slightly higher than the other point, we'll know off of level. That's what level means. But that's just one aspect of the use of language and how they've twisted it.
I know that it's a round ball though. How? Because it just, every other planetary body in the universe is shown to be a round ball. Why would the Earth be different?
When we look through optics or we look at anything, we see in 2D.
You see it in a flat dimension.
We see 2D.
Yeah,
Okay?
it looks flat.
So if I says to you, do you know anything about like logical fallacies or anything like that?
Heard the expression.
So a logical fallacy would be something that's got faulty reasoning to it. It's fallacious in your reasoning. So if I took you into a pool hall where you play pool or snooker, and I says to you, look, the pool balls are round, therefore the table must be round. Would you accept that?
No, you're right. I wouldn't accept that.
So if we're looking at the Earth, what up there doesn't give us anything but the shape of the Earth. Would you agree or disagree?
Oh, fair. Yeah, I mean, it's to look at it, it's logical, but yeah, you're right. You would have to furtherly prove it. You can't say just based on evidence around the Earth must be right.
Plus, you're always seeing in 2D up there. You don't know that. You've never been round the back of these things or seen them.
When somebody takes the telescope and looks into space and sees all the galaxies and planets, what is that?
Well, that's just luminaries. You know, it's like if I asked you to give me the measurements of your house floor, but I asked you just to do it by looking at the lights, could you give me the dimensions of your house floor by the lights?
No.
So you understand it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter what's up there. I'm trying to find out what the shape is down here. You know?
And if the shapes of other planets we see are round,
Yeah.
how can we suspect that the Earth is not round?
Well, that, again, that's fallacious reasoning, fallacious logic, because that's like me saying, oh well, the pool balls are round, therefore the table must be round.
Right.
You understand? It's not really.
I know,
You
I
know, it doesn't follow.
It's just
So, if I came to your home to measure the dimensions of your floor, and I pulled my measuring tape out and started to wrap it around the light bulb to get a grasp on the dimensions of the floor of your home, you would think I was an absolute lunatic. But yet, this thing that you're believing in, this globe, is doing the exact same thing. But to you it seems rational, it seems sane. Why? Because loads of people are repeating it. It's illogical. It's an absolute joke. Things in space, things in the sky have got absolutely nothing to do with establishing the dimensions of the earth that we are upon. Nothing. So right away, you're talking shite, sonny boy. So if I was to then just keep pushing, I hope you don't mind me asking me these, you know, if you want to believe that it's a globe, you know, you're entitled to believe that, but you know, I'm asking people, can you point me some sort of scientific, measurable proof that justifies your belief in it being a globe? Or do you know why you believe it's a globe?
Do you know what? I'll put it down to I think it's a globe because it's what I've been taught, but I also think there's so many arguments.
That's the realistic answer.
That's what
That was the same as me. I was told that. I assumed it to be true. I found no reasons for me ever to question it because everybody said so. Until I went and actually looked at it and tried to prove to myself that it was a globe. And I couldn't.
It's a pretty difficult thing for one person to do. Imagine not Christopher Columbus or anything like that.
But I can get in a ship and I can travel on a level ocean.
You can fly around the world.
Fly.
That's another thing. See,
But the flying around the world, if that's the central point and I start here and I fly around the world,
technically floating around it.
yeah, that doesn't mean that the step's round, does it?
No, it doesn't.
So you would have to have north to south, over the ice cap, right round under the other ice cap and round again. It's never been done.
No, you're right, that hasn't been done.
Never been done. So I'm going to ask you, what is your criteria in order for you to accept something as being objectively true? You know what objective means?
Yeah.
What is your criteria for accepting something being objective?
I need to know the details, what is it about, and then objectively look at it without my own opinion, kind of.
Without any bias, any of that. So would you then say that that would require practical demonstration of a claim?
Yeah.
So like if I made a claim about the world to you, I would be duty bound to actually show you that claim?
It depends what kind of claim it is.
Well, if I claimed something about a substance in the world and its behaviours, and I says to you like, you know, this substance behaves like this, but I can only show you it in an image or a video, would you accept that as enough, or would you actually have to test it for yourself?
Not 100%, but I would be like open to it, definitely.
So we can agree then that an image and a video is not really scientific, objective truth, is it? No, because it can be manipulated, can't it?
It can be.
So without appealing to authority or consensus or any fallacious reasoning or any of these things, I just want to talk about some of my experience of reality and see if you agree or disagree.
Yeah.
If I talk about, what I want to speak about now is liquids. You know how a liquid behaves? Can I ask you how you would describe a liquid's behaviour?
Well, it's hard to press it.
Yep, it doesn't compress.
No. It doesn't compress. And
Would a description that a liquid takes the shape of the container and the surface is always a horizontal plane?
That's right.
You would accept that?
Yeah.
What if I was to show you an image that said something different? Would you accept the image or would you accept real world reality?
It depends.
It depends?
It depends.
On what?
I would need to see the picture.
Well, if I could never demonstrate it to you really, like here in front of you, and I could only ever just show you an image.
It's very general, but if I see it and...
So your experience of the real world is that water takes the shape of the container, the surface is always a horizontal flat plane. Do you believe we live on a ball?
And what?
Do you believe that we live on a globular round earth?
Yeah.
Although we've just discussed fluid behaviour?
Yeah, but the earth is quite big, you know.
So you think increasing the size of it changes its behaviour?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. Because we don't have the container of the size of the ball or something like that. Something big like Earth, you know, with such a gravity. So. But you can't see that. You can't demonstrate that. It's just a belief in an image. You've never seen the Earth. It's a belief in physical properties.
Yeah, but the physical properties of liquid tells me that it's impossible for me to be living on a ball. But somebody would say you have to make it bigger. So what exact size do you think it would have to be before you can start to bend it?
I don't know. I'm not a physician.
So you understand? You take it on faith then?
Well, I trust to science in this.
But that's if it's not demonstrable. If I can't demonstrate it, it's not scientific, is it?
Yeah. But what is the other way of saying that? What is the other opinion then?
Well, if I claim something and I can't demonstrate it, I call that pseudoscience because it's not demonstrable. So
So what do you want to demonstrate? What is the other truth, other side of the?
Well, I don't have anything. I'm just taking the claim that we live on a ball Earth, and I'm applying it to the real world to see if it holds up. Yeah. And I can't find any proof to suggest that it's true.
I see. It's like different properties. If you're comparing something that big like Earth to bowl of water, it's different. You know, there's no gravity, so it's obvious it's not gonna behave the same to liquid.
So, but you still don't know at what size it starts to behave like that?
I don't know.
So if I go to Loch Lomond, Loch Lomond's flat.
Yeah.
But it's 28 miles long. On the mathematics of the curvature of a globular Earth at 24,000 miles in circumference, there should be hundreds of feet of curvature over that area.
Really?
But it doesn't exist.
No. I don't know.
What is really going on here with this globe Earth? Remember, that's the thing we're questioning. I'm going to get to what flat Earth is in a wee minute, okay? But you have to stand and ask the questions of the globe Earth. Now, it has no direct measurement. It has no practical demonstration. You cannot, take a rock, stick it in a vacuum, levitate it, throw in a gas that clings to the rock inside the vacuum, separate from the vacuum, and have water all clinging around it. Anything else that's real in my reality can be scaled up and down and can be represented accurately using the substances that I am making the claims about. That's how we know it's real. When you look at a globe, you see a plastic toy or you see an image on your TV screen. And because you have human beings who are acting like it's real and playing the part that it's real, it's confusing you. Would you think there's enough just in that one point to start maybe questioning?
No.
No?
No.
You're quite happy to just blindly go with what they're telling you and believe in it?
Not blindly.
But if I asked you again for a reason, if you could give me a scientific reason, what if I says to you
Well, what about projectiles?
What about them?
Well, they'll not fall at the same rate. If they're going further around the Earth, they'll fall slower because the Earth is moving away from it.
So that's what they'll term as a Coriolis effect. So there's a problem with that because they're going to cherry pick.
So I'm not wanting to get into a debate with you because you've obviously got your facts right and I'm just...
But just to point out the absurdity of that quickly, if a helicopter hovers above the Earth, would you expect the Earth to spin by underneath it?
Well, no, but if a bee's in your car, it's not going to hit the back window, is it?
But that's in an enclosed system. They're not claiming an enclosed system. They're claiming it's an open system.
I'm not too sure about that.
Well, it's
atmosphere's an enclosed system, is it not?
But they'll say this is another problem. They'll say there's no barrier between a vacuum and a pressurised environment. Again, in physics, we know that for two pressure systems to coexist, they need to be solidly separated. Or the high pressure will go to the low pressure region. But that's a contradiction in this model that they're depicting to me about my Earth.
Well, I don't know about that sort of stuff.
No.
But
do you find it's interesting that you've never ever really questioned or thought about it? Do you think it's important for people to question these things pretty much is what I would get to the point of, rather than taking things for granted?
Sometimes yes, but if you're going to question everything, you're going to be wasting your time.
But
even what's the difference? If you live on a round Earth or a flat Earth, what's the difference? You're
I
still
think
living here, just, you know.
exactly. Well, I think there's a point to that we are still living and we've got to deal with the day-to-day life. But there's a different cosmology running that's given us an existential narrative of who we are and where we are and blah blah blah. And if that's wrong, I think that would be concerning to me. As a thinker, it would be concerning to me.
I've never questioned it because of that, because I wonder what would people gain to lie about it.
No, see, this is the thing. The motive right now for me is secondary. You know, it's like if I go to a crime scene, I don't first think, oh, I'm not going to investigate the crime scene because I need to find a motive. No, I investigate the crime scene and then it may lead me to a motive.
Yeah.
So, you know, just because we don't understand the motive right now doesn't negate the actual crime scene. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You know? So sometimes people, just to try and reason their way out of it, they'll jump to these things. Oh, I don't know why they would lie, so therefore it's ridiculous. That's just not. I mean, you accept your government's lie to you.
Oh, definitely.
So where do you draw the line? Where do you say they're lying about that, but they're not lying about that?
You know, but sometimes you can think about it, like a lot of people seem to think the moon landing didn't happen because it bankrupted the Russians. I personally don't believe that. I was like, if you wanted to bankrupt them, do it once, not so many umpteen goddamn times.
But what if you're building an industry based on this false premise?
You know, you could argue that as well, but I still choose to believe. I just hope that it's true, and I hope that it is.
I can understand
You don't
why.
want that to be a lie.
You don't want it to be a lie because you've invested your dreams.
It's affected how I think of humanity and stuff
Exactly,
like that.
you know. But you don't think it's really important if it is a lie to know? Would you rather have the truth than a comfortable lie?
I'd rather the game just said it.
Just said it. But if you've got so much investment in business and other, you know, subcontracts to different people, and you're making, I mean, NASA alone, they get $52 million a day per day. So they're right there, and then's a great incentive to keep a lie going. You must understand, I'm sure that there is nobody that is that gullible and naive anymore, that they understand that human beings tell lies. Why this big lie? I could invoke so many possibilities for why that is. What I'm going to point out to you first and foremost is that we do not go to motive before we investigate the scene. Okay? But from what I can see, through my understanding and my introspective, work that I've done, is that a lot of these things are psychological mechanisms to control. Okay? Being a hairless monkey, living in bewilderment on a spinning ball, flying through an infinite void with no rhyme or reason to it, creates a psychological foundation in you and I of bewilderment. Bewilderment which brings about stress, anxiety, fear. The necessity to cling to apparent certainty. Ideas and concepts that fit our subjective interpretations and needs. A psychology that tells you everything's been discovered. Clever and smart people who existed before you discovered it all and figured it all out. But they were way advanced, they were super brains. Look, but we idolise them, they must have been. And they understand the complexity of this language. These are deliberate tactics to subdue you, to throw you off track. You are a sentient being who has a nature of exploration and inquisitiveness. Look at any child. It does not give a shit for yesterday or tomorrow. Only about the moment and its curiosity for its experience and the reality that it finds itself in. These narratives and these stories, Big Bang, heliocentric, hairless monkey cosmology, subdues that natural aspect, that inquirer that you are. So then you start to look at other aspects. Well, what am I going to do with myself now? Get a job, get a family, go on holiday, buy a new car, die. Why do we have restricted areas? Who are these human beings that are the same as you and I? Who think that they have some sort of right to dictate where you and I can and cannot go. We have restricted areas at what we know as the northern regions and the most northern regions and the most southerly regions. We also have areas in between that are restricted access that you and I cannot freely go and explore. So, there is, in my understanding, there is a real push to perpetuate this nonsense, to stop you and I from being inquirers. What I have seen by questioning the globe is a barrage of zealot cult behaviour from vagrants. Over the last 4.5 years, or whatever it is, I have been met with nothing but the same old tired rhetoric. I have been met with ridicule. I've been met with, bullying tactics, all sorts of manipulative tactics, disruptive behaviour. I've had my channel sniped, porn played on my channel numerous times. I've been suspended for 3 months on places like YouTube, Facebook, by these people's actions. These are people who are professing they represent real science, they represent the globe heliocentrism, and that it's under the guise and banner of scientific. Yet they cannot offer any direct measurable proof. They cannot offer any practical demonstrations of their absurd claims. The only thing we get for them is propaganda, ridicule, disruption, slander. That is no people who are representing objectivity, exploration, real science. These are people who are protecting a religious, existential narrative. If the globe was indeed real, if we lived in a truly free society with a will to properly educate people, to have proper discernment amongst people, everybody would be invited openly to question any aspect, regardless of what it is, particularly when it's meant to be represented by objective science. It should be an open book. It should never be entertaining any notion of ridicule, propaganda. And I'm not just talking about faceless potatoes that we may encounter on interwebs. I'm talking about mainstream characters, like the priesthood, off the top of my head, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye, Brian Cox. People like that. Now, if you go and look at these people, they don't offer you any actual measurable proof or practical demonstration of their concepts and professed reality. You get narratives, you get stories, you get nice music, you get fancy images. And at the same time, you get ridicule for anybody else who dares to question their narrative. That should be telling you that something is really wrong with what you hold to be true. Okay, so science is about individuals understanding their reality, making discoveries and practically demonstrating the claims that they are making with actual tangible substance. No hairy-fairy. This is the point. People need to separate the sciences and understand them for what they are. Okay, so what we're talking about is the natural sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, the sciences that deal with tangible substance, the things, what they're made of, how they work, what their relationships are to each other, and how we can demonstrate that and show each other it, which is how we have progressive technologies like what we're using right now. That doesn't come from idiots looking up at the sky going, oh, look at that, oh, 6.5 billion years ago, oh. No, that's the religious institutions imposing their narrative of our existence, hijacking the real explorative nature of real science and understanding our reality. They have twisted it and bastardised it into a total nonsense, right? That you can't verify, falsify, demonstrate, scale, or any of these things. The heliocentric globe model is just a concept that came from religious institutions Its sole purpose was to control human beings, to give them a false narrative of who they are, where they are, why they came to be. Okay? So that you can be controlled, so that you never question any further. Life's just a big accident. Oh, and it's all too complex, I'll never understand it, therefore I just need to chase a job in a BMW and a holiday in Spain for 4 weeks of the year. As a religion, to quit confusing people, to step world of everyday life, the 3D world that we move around in, that we use all our senses to accumulate an understanding, is plainer, demonstrably, fact, no way to escape it, you can only deny it. The globe will continually misrepresent and mix up the geometries in order to confuse people because it's a dishonest cult. To quit confusing people, it does not represent objective science in any way, shape or form. It is a religion. But you do find that a wee bit that's been threatened, your kind of belief maybe that it is being threatened by me questioning it, so you feel you have to...
Not really.
No?
No. It's more just that I think I try and make you prove your point of view, rather than defending my own point of view.
Well, if the affirmed claims a globe, I expect it to be able to prove itself, and there's no measurable curvature, there's no proof of motion, there's none of these things.
I mean, I've not done my research.
Well, that's what I wanted to highlight. So if you've not done your research, but you want to believe in it, that would make you kind of religious? No?
I wouldn't say that.
Putting faith in something to be true that you've never checked?
I would say it's the same kind of faith, but I wouldn't say that makes me religious.
No, well, it's faith, isn't it? It's kind of blind faith, because you've not looked at it.
Faith in other people.
Exactly.
I've looked at it.
And do you think people have got a propensity to tell lies?
Some people, yeah.
Some people have. What about governments?
I think that some people are smart enough that aren't they governments or whatever. That, I mean, you seem like a fairly smart guy yourself. If you believe in this, I'm sure other smart guys believe in it, and they could look into this. And I've not seen any proof that.
See, I would try and eradicate belief. What I'm looking for is just an honest inquiry, but what we're being met by is like propaganda and ridicule just for dare questioning, and that's not a scientific approach for me. If it's science, it should hold up to scrutiny, and there shouldn't be any propaganda attached to it. You know, we should be freely allowed to explore scientific inquiry. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, but I say that your points apply to your own theories as well.
Right.
That it should stand up to scrutiny.
Of course,
it doesn't really,
of course.
does it?
So it's not a personal thing, and propaganda shouldn't be coming into it. You know, we shouldn't be getting ridicule or attacks on persons, any of these things.
Oh no, definitely not.
It's an objective inquiry that should be open to scrutiny regardless of who's asking the questions. And you would agree with that?
Yes.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Mate, I really appreciate you stopping to spend the time and speak to me. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you, buddy. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to trigger your thought and see if you could, you know, think rationally and reasonably about it. Because for me it's important. I take reality, real science, as what can be demonstrated. So when somebody tells me a liquid can bend around an object, show me that. But you couldn't show me it, could you? Could you show me it? Because the surface is always a horizontal plane. Guys, I hope you think about it and have a wee look into it, because it's a huge topic right now. I think it's important for people to start thinking about it. Alright, any questions? No. Cheers for speaking to me, man. Thank you. Cheers. What has happened is that this image has been pumped through generations. It has been plastered through the media, and continually so. You have been seeing that image since you were a very young child, impressionable, when you never had the critical faculties of discernment and the ability to question claims that were being put to you properly. You put it to the back of your mind. You accepted it as being true because everybody else was saying it. The teachers are saying it, my parents are saying it, the TV's showing me it. And again, you're asking, how can that be the case? How could they be lying? Oh, how do I know? What I'm asking you to be is a direct realist. I'm asking you to stand firm as the scientist. You know, exploration does not belong to an institution. It belongs to you as an individual. It's up to you to understand your own mind, understand reality for yourself, no having some authority, some pseudo-intellect sitting on a pedestal trying to tell you What's correct, what's not correct, what's true and what's false. If you put yourself in that position, I have to call you a moron. You are willfully ignorant. You deserve to be lied to and have the piss taken out of you, which is exactly what these institutions are doing. So you have to understand how it works. An image on a screen does not trump our direct experience of reality that we all share. Because remember, I'm talking about us as a majority here. I'm not talking about a small clique of men and women who are professing that they are achieving some vantage point that you and I have never witnessed. The reason you know they're lying on that one substance alone is because of its behaviour, its physicality. What you might get is people telling you that they'll invoke their, what I call, cult buzzwords and phrases, mantras. And again, I'm pretty sure anybody new is saying the same thing to themselves right now. Gravity. Gravity. A mystical non-entity that has no dimensions and no physicality. A mathematical construct, a concept that has been created as the central core of a narrative known as heliocentrism, globular Earth. That concept requires a mystical energy, like a god, just the same as any other religious existential narrative requires. Now, when you say gravity, do you understand what you mean by gravity? Do you understand that there's varying concepts of that word? Now, talking about your globular Earth and its word gravity, and somebody trying to tell me that the substance that I know has no shape or form to it and is incapable of supporting itself as to display shapes and convexity upon its surface, are going to try and tell me that this non-entity, this non-geometric, non-physical force is somehow magically allowing water to bend and maintain the bend upon its surface around the exterior of a globular Earth. Now, what you have to ask is the questions. We can get into depth about gravity and its nonsense, okay? But what you have to be asking is that what is it about this non-geometric, non-entity force known as gravity? What is it that it's injecting or doing to the substance known as water that now allows it to behave in a way that is contrary to my understanding of physical reality? Is it injecting an invisible wallpaper paste? Is it injecting some form of energy that creates a jelly-like texture to it? That allows the water to bind together and act like jelly and bend around the exterior of the shape? I mean, it's absolute nonsense, is what it is. It's more of the sophistry, complicated crap language, trying to prop up a lie. And you think it's not as simple as that? Well, I beg to differ. Away you go and test this stuff for yourself. Away you go and look at history, the constructs, the things that we've designed and built that we still utilise to this very day under the understanding of how this substance behaves. The most accurate measuring tool to establish level, particularly over a large distance. More accurate than any man-made instrument. So, you're stuck between, a rock and a hard place, if you like. I've got this image that I see on the TV. I've got this baldy, tattooed Scottish guy telling me to trust my own senses and the substances in my reality. The choice is now yours. The substance is self-evident. It can be demonstrated, it can be shown practically, and it can be repeated over and over and over and over and over again to be established as an objective fact. There is absolutely no measurable proof that the Earth is a sphere. There's no going to be, because it's impossible. The globe is utter garbage. You're a hypnotised monkey. So fucking snap out of here. Quick style. Be a skeptic. Don't just take it on hearsay because it's presented to you as science. Science says I'm a hairless monkey on a wee potato rock spinning about a vacuum. Therefore science says so, so that's what I believe. That makes you an absolute fucking idiot. Snap out of here and start finding out what the fuck this place actually is. Because you don't have a fucking clue where you are. I'm now at a position of the only stance, and the stance that has always been pushed here, is that we do not know where we are. The globe can be falsified. The only way to resolve this is full exploration and full disclosure, transparency through every government and military organisation. There's no other fucking way out of this for me. I know that it might seem far-fetched and too much to ask for some people, but what am I supposed to accept? Some other bollocks, some other fucking cartoon about where I live? I don't accept it, neither should you. It is the most important thing, it's the fundamentals of your very existence. You believe there's a ball or rock flying in the vacuum of space with a gaseous environment and liquid or clung to it? That's how fucked up your beliefs are. Fuck this place, fuck the system, and fuck the fucking laws with the fucking games. I make my fucking rules. You make your fucking rules. I don't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me. I don't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me. Ain't a story. It's fucking called freedom. It's fucking called freedom. I make my fucking rules. Testicle in a vacuum. Testicle in a vacuum. Yes. Mm-hmm. There are actually people who believe such things. We need to eradicate it. We need to eradicate it. We need to eradicate it. Fuck this place, fuck the system, and fuck the fucking laws with the fucking games. I make my fucking rules. You make your fucking rules. I don't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me. I don't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me. Ain't a story. I don't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me. End of story. Well, I've got a fucking big BMX that can fly. Show me a big BMX that can fly. Canny, you're a fucking bullshitting lying piece of shit, fuck off. Oh, I've got a Ferrari that goes 340 miles an hour. And I've got a summer house in Spain. Show me. Canny, fuck off. You're a liar. Oh, I've got this potato rock with gas and water stuck through it that's inside a vacuum, and it all just stays there because of magic stuffs. Show me it. Canny. Fuck off. You're a liar. Show me it. Canny. Fuck off. Like you did when you were a child. Come in. Stand up for yourself. Come in. Stand up for yourself. I want no nonsense approach. Come in. Stand up for yourself. Come in. Stand up for yourself. I want no nonsense approach. And here's a picture of fucking a duck's nose. Black clothes and stuff. Black clothes and stuff. And here's a picture of fucking a duck's nose. Black clothes and stuff. Black clothes and stuff. Show me it. Canny. Fuck off. Show me it. Canny. Fuck off. Let's all conform. Let's all conform and behave like good little children. Do not escape from your box. Conform to the social norm. Conform like a politician. Conform to the social norm. Conform like a politician.